Some people spend thousands of dollars trying to get dimples, while other people are simply born with them. That's already pretty strange. But here's what's even stranger. Some babies are born with dimples, only to lose them as they grow up. So, what exactly are dimples? Are they inherited? Are they a muscle? A birth defect? Or are some people just lucky? As it turns out, almost everything you've been told about dimples is wrong. First things first, dimples are not little holes in your cheeks, and they're definitely not tiny pockets of fat. In fact, if you could magically peel back the skin on someone's face, you wouldn't find a hole at all. You'd find one small facial muscle doing something most people's never do. Imagine grabbing a rope. Most ropes are just ropes, but imagine that rope suddenly splitting into a Y. That's essentially what's happening in some people's cheeks. When they smile, that split pulls on the skin from two directions, creating the tiny dent we call a dimple. They're the result of the unique way you're built. But if that's true, why are some babies born with dimples, only to lose them later? Here's the part almost nobody talks about. Not everyone keeps their dimples. Some babies are born with adorable little dimples, and just a few years later, they're gone. So what happened? Did the muscle change? Not usually. The biggest change wasn't the muscle, it was everything around it. Imagine pressing your finger into a balloon before it's inflated. The dent is easy to see. Now start blowing the balloon up. As it stretches, that same dent becomes harder and harder to notice. A baby's face goes through something similar. As they grow, their cheeks change shape, baby fat disappears, and the skin stretches differently. That tiny pull that once created a perfect dimple may no longer be strong enough to leave a visible dent. The dimple didn't necessarily disappear, it just became harder to see. But that raises an even bigger question. If dimples are caused by the way you're built, why doesn't everyone in the same family have them? The obvious answer is, it's genetic. And that's true, but it's also a little misleading. People often think genetics work like a light switch. Your parents have dimples, so you'll have dimples too. Simple, right? Not exactly. Genes don't read instruction manuals. They're more like recipes. Two people can start with almost the exact same ingredients and still end up with different results. That's why dimples often run in families, without showing up in every generation or every sibling. One child might have deep dimples, another tiny ones, and another none at all. Genetics influence the odds. They don't guarantee the outcome. But here's the part that completely surprised me. Some people don't wait to see what genetics gives them. They actually buy dimples. You'd think that would be the end of the story. You're either born with dimples or you're not, right? Not anymore. Believe it or not, some people actually pay thousands of dollars to have dimples surgically created. Seriously, it's called dimpleplasty. During the procedure, a surgeon makes a tiny opening inside your cheek, then creates a small attachment between the muscle and the skin. Once it heals, every time you smile, the skin gets pulled inward, creating a dimple that can look surprisingly natural. And here's the craziest part. The incision is usually made inside your mouth, so in many cases, there isn't even a visible scar on the outside. All of that for two tiny dents that most people never think twice about. Which just goes to show, the very thing one person wishes they could change might be the exact thing someone else has always wanted. So, why do some people have dimples? Not because they got lucky, not because they have little holes in their cheeks, and not because they smiled a certain way as a kid. It all comes down to one tiny difference in the way a facial muscle interacts with the skin. That tiny difference can be inherited, fade as you grow, or even be recreated by a surgeon. And somehow, something so small can completely change the way a smile looks. So the next time someone smiles and those dimples appear, you won't just see two little dents. You'll see a tiny quirk of anatomy that some people are born with, some people lose, and some people spend thousands of dollars trying to recreate. And that's the funny thing about the human body. Sometimes the smallest differences are the ones we notice the most. That's a fact.